Hey everybody, welcome to another DBD video. So today I wanted to do something a little different. We're going to be doing a React video because I have run out of ideas, clearly. But no, this is a video by DBD Balance and Beyond, who you should definitely subscribe to. I am. I haven't watched any of the videos yet, but I wanted to listen to a few of the rework ideas for some of the killers they have suggested. Their links and stuff will be below. For real, you guys should definitely watch them before you watch me. But I wanted to do this to see what other ideas, because I've come up with my own killer rework ideas. And, you know, we have the Killer Man interviews where we all kind of like think of ways of changing killers and whatnot. So I'm curious what others have to say about what should be changed and how you could change them. So I this is going to be genuinely just curious for me. If you guys like these, let me know. If you don't, I will stop doing them, obviously. And once again, please sub to this creator. It means so much if you do. Don't just use me to piggyback off of them, and I don't want to make this seem like I am piggybacking off of them. In case, let's just get into it.
The Nemesis is easily one of survival horror's most iconic monsters, a
Mhm.
colossus that relentlessly pursues the members of Stars throughout the events of Resident Evil 3. Within the realm of Dead by Daylight, however, he tends to be considered a symbol of frustrating game design. As a killer, his power can feel limited at crucial moments, and as a survivor, he's a constant zoning tool.
I can see that. I know I've talked in the past before about how Nemesis often feels like, once again, I've said that I think, considering what Dead by Daylight is, they did their best at adapting him, and it felt like they were more trying to adapt Resident Evil as a whole and not just Nemesis himself. But the whip is, like, when I think of Nemesis, I don't think of the whip. I don't think of the zombies. I think of a mass of bio whatever the fuck pursuing you constantly.
Overall, despite being well balanced, I'd argue he could do with a number of changes in order to make his gameplay less frustrating for both sides. Today, dear viewer, I wish to explore a rework concept that would seek to change the tentacle strike, zombie patrols, and add-ons in hopes of creating a nemesis that's more
I think the add-ons are the big thing. I think the zombies in general are fine. I wish Nemesis had some way to control them, and I hope they go into that a little bit. And Tentacle Strike, once again, like, if it's what we have, I can see them changing it slightly, but I'm kind of cool with how it works personally, but we'll see what they have to say.
terrifying than he is annoying. Before talking gameplay, I wanted to include a quick section regarding this killer's voice line. Voice line?
Voice
Yes,
line.
dear viewer, the Nemesis does in fact have one single voice line.
Stars.
It plays anytime he pulls a member of Stars from a locker, or he Mori's one of them. A cool feature, but one that's rarely noticed. Locker pulls barely happen, and most people are using Bloodpoint offerings, so Mori's rarely occur. I'd suggest that this voice line should play anytime the Nemesis starts chasing a member of Stars.
I can see that. I
This
like
would
that.
be more in line with his lore. He does constantly say Stars when he spots Jill in RE3, and it would mean this aspect of the character design is actually noticed. Nice, considering that it's a really cool feature.
Voice lines are. I said this in the past, and it's part of the reason why I love Chucky so much. And Unknown and Singularity, even Wesker to a degree. Voice lines are a huge thing, and while some killers, obviously like Michael Myers, shouldn't have them, Nemesis saying Stars at the start of the chase would be a huge thing. Like, it's such. Let me rephrase that. It's such a small thing, but it adds up. It just adds character. It's all it is.
Feature. Anyway, on to the gameplay. The Tentacle Strike is the main part of this killer's power and can frustrate both sides in different ways. For the Nemesis, requiring 3 hits in chase can mean that a survivor is guaranteed a certain amount of time in chase through simply holding W. At critical moments, it can be impossible to get the down quick.
Now, behavior. A lot of people do mention this. So when he first gets a contamination on the first hit before they're infected, they do get hindered extremely slightly, and that was behavior's way, I feel, of compensating for the fact that you had to hit them 3 times, but it doesn't do anything, and I'm really curious if they're going to bring that up.
Enough, regardless of how well you do in chase. Further, the limited utility of the level 1 Tentacle Strike can lead to a difficult early game and mean that a Nemesis has lost the match before they've even had a chance to really make full use of their power.
Mm-hmm.
On the survivor's side, the speed with which the tentacle can be drawn makes the Nemesis a zoning machine. Even if you take an action that the killer wasn't expecting, you can almost guarantee he'll get a hit. This means that chasing starts with pre-dropping pallets and vaulting safe windows well ahead of time, and then holding W as the gap closes.
Horser said it best when we were talking about counterplay for Nemesis. The biggest thing is make sure he doesn't hit tier 2 as soon as possible, and pre-dropping pallets in the early game is the best way to do that. Nemesis can't do anything about pallets before tier 2, and he really can't do anything about pallets like even once he's in tier 2. He still has to deal with them like every other killer, but he can kind of hit over them. And it being a zoning tool, while I agree to an extent, until he hits tier 3, can't really use it to zone as well as some other killers. Not to say he can't do it at all, but yeah, it's definitely not. I don't find it as frustrating as I think they're making it out.
This isn't very thrilling and leads to many survivors not enjoying their time against this killer. Anytime they take an action in order to survive, he gets a hit. The combination of quick and easy hits, but requiring 3 hits before getting the down, can lead to a gameplay loop that neither side is entirely happy with. So what changes could be made? Let's start with the tier 1 changes. These changes will basically apply to the Tentacle Strike as a whole, given that you'd start any trial in tier 1. First, I'd suggest the Tentacle Strike's default range should be 6 meters. This is currently the range granted.
I think that's fine. Xeno's is 4.8. I don't know the range on Pyramid Heads offhand, but it's a decently long range. I think 6 meters is fine. I apologize, I had to cough. I think 6 meters would be fine. If anything, I would maybe make it a little bit more than 6 and 3, but he might go into that. We'll see.
By tier 3. Making it the default range would allow the Nemesis to use his power even in stronger tiles at the start of a match. Further, his movement speed should be increased to 3.86 meters per second while his tentacle is out. This 1.5% increase wouldn't be too impactful by itself, but would mean he loses less distance to a survivor while preparing to attack.
So, maybe they'll go into this, but we said we wanted to get rid of his zoning. So I feel like making him even slightly faster while the tentacle is pulled out at tier 1 would kind of not do that. Maybe I'm thinking of this wrong, and I kind of see what they're trying to do, but yeah, I don't know about that one.
Next, I'd suggest that the movement speed of the Nemesis while cancelling a tentacle strike should be reduced to 4 meters per second. The current 4.2 meters per second movement speed allows the Nemesis to gain distance on a survivor after having zoned them. The reduction in movement speed would mean that a survivor is more rewarded for making a killer hesitate when respecting a pallet, for example.
Okay.
Further, I'd suggest that the tentacle strike draw time should be increased to 0.7 seconds. This is...
Okay, alright, I take back everything I just said. Cool. Thanks for making me look dumb. Yeah, I think, I'd be down for all of that. That actually makes way more sense.
Double his current draw time and would make him a lot less potent at zoning. Now, a Nemesis player would need to be predicting a survivor's actions in order to get hits, rather than just reacting at the last moment. Overall, these changes seek to make zoning on the fly more difficult for the Nemesis, but improve the potential of the Tentacle Strike once it's been charged. Now let's talk tier 2 changes. Well, change, there's only one. Simply, I'd suggest that the Tentacle Strike should now damage generators in the same way it breaks pallets and walls. This would activate all associated gen kicking perks such as Pop Goes the Weasel and Trail of Torment.
I like that change. I don't think it's necessary, but I like it.
Granting the ability to damage generators in this way would improve the Nemesis's ability to apply pressure and even reasonably damage generators mid-chase. In fact, I think it'd be cool if there was a perk that rewarded killers for damaging several generators before they get a down. I don't know, maybe they plant traps which all go off when a survivor is downed? Oh, wait, that perk's called Eruption, it's a Nemesis perk, and now it would have great synergy. It's almost like I planned this. Finally is the tier 3 changes. The first change I'd suggest is removing the increased movement speed while holding the tentacle.
Alright. He better compensate this, because I think the idea of Nemesis hitting tier 3 and becoming like way more powerful because of that movement speed thing. Because this was a change they did a long time ago. Because he wasn't like this on release. I think it's fine. I think rewarding the killer for hitting tier 3 and kind of punishing the survivors for letting him get there is, I think it's fine.
Whilst zoning survivor, a killer should always give them some distance. Currently, the ability to zone with minimal downsides is part of what makes him so frustrating to play against. To compensate, I'd suggest that the tier 3 tentacle strike should now contaminate and injure a survivor with a single hit. This would take the tentacle strike.
That's not a bad idea. The problem with doing it this way is at that point, a lot of the sprays will be used. And it means the survivors have no real reason to decontaminate themselves. Because why would I do that if he's just going to injure me anyways, even if I'm not contaminated? I guess to avoid zombie hits, but that's usually not that big of a deal unless he's going to buff the zombies a bunch. But yeah, I think tier 3 is fine how it is. This is an interesting idea, and I think one I've seen floating around before, but I just I don't know. I think this would be I don't know.
Strike to a 2-shot and make him a lot more lethal after hitting tier 3. Being able to down a survivor in 2 hits with the tentacle strike would reduce the amount of W keying and allow skilled killers to end chases quickly. Overall, these changes seek to make it more difficult and punishing to zone with the tentacle strike, but also make the tentacle strike more impactful when it's used in chase. The next thing to talk about is the zombie patrols. At the moment, zombies, once again, frustrate both sides in different ways. As a killer, the inability to direct the AI can mean that they sometimes end up in a corner of the map, defending an area where gens have already been completed. Essentially,
So I've talked about my changes to zombies. One, I think add-ons definitely need to be improved. Their AI needs to be improved. Obviously, that's just quality of life stuff. But my suggestion has always been if someone gets contaminated, or whipped, the zombies should start heading in that direction of the map. Maybe not necessarily chase the survivor down, but should start heading that way. And I feel like if the survivor is already contaminated, the zombies should maybe get a speed boost when going for them or something like that. I'm not sure.
they aren't where you want them to be most of the time and are more useful as some free contamination points rather than pressuring survivors. As a survivor, the presence of a zombie can altogether prevent you from completing the objective. If you don't have a flashlight and don't want to waste a pallet, there's not much you can do. The zombie will continue to harass you until you give up and leave. And what did the killer do to earn this pressure? Nothing. They just got lucky on the AI spawns. It feels really bad when a killer is granted free pressure for doing absolutely nothing. So what do we do? I'd propose a new system that sees the Nemesis manually summon a zombie, holding the active ability.
I don't like this. I do not like this, and the reason why I don't, some of Nemesis's power budget is in the fact that the zombies cannot be controlled. This specifically. They can be controlled slightly because they go towards sound right now. And while I don't think my idea is perfect, it wouldn't give him like pinpoint accuracy control. I do not like the idea of him being able to summon zombies. At that point, he's basically just Knight with Pyramid Head's trail or Punishment of the Damned. And I think combining this with the fact that you can injure survivors in tier 3, I think it would be too much. I think him being able to put zombies down just leads to frustrating gameplay. Even if the survivors have some way, like, inherently to get rid of them, I don't like this. I never have liked this idea.
Button allows the Nemesis to stand still for 3 seconds in order to summon a zombie. This will grant 1 contamination point, and a zombie will begin patrolling a 16-meter radius for 30 seconds. Anytime a survivor enters the patrol range, the zombie will move towards the survivor at 2 meters per second. If a survivor exits the patrol area, the zombie will return to patrolling the search radius. If there are multiple survivors within the search radius, the zombie will always go for the closest survivor. At the end of the patrol duration, the zombie is destroyed and the summoning enters a 30-second cooldown. This system would allow for a Nemesis to defend certain strategic points, but give survivors the option to work together in order to finish a generator, cleanse a totem, etc. Further, the option of waiting out zombie patrols would be feasible given the 30-second timer and subsequent 30-second cooldown. Overall, this system would allow for targeted defense of strategic points without making zombies too oppressive by themselves.
I don't agree with not making them too oppressive. Like, the cooldown and stuff is cool and all, but it's like, we'll just, and I know we're not in a 3-gen meta anymore, but this would just kind of lead to that. In the in-game, he would become like really, really hard to do, because let's say you have 2 gens that are close by and 1 gen that's far off. You could put your zombie at that far off one, and you could patrol the 2. And yeah, there's that 30-second cooldown, but by the time you walk back over there, the cooldown's already gone. Like, there's a lot here I just don't like with the zombie, personally. I see what they're going for, though.
Finally, it's time to talk add-ons. The Nemesis has some infamously terrible add-ons.
Yes.
A number have repeating effects, and a few wouldn't work with the current rework as I have presented it. Overall, a complete add-on pass would be needed in order to consolidate effects and improve the selection available. But Cameron, I hear you cry, if you reworked all those add-ons, you'd only be advertising to the world how sad and lonely you are. That I would, dear viewer. That I would. Starting off with common add-ons is the Visitor Wristband. This one increases the patrol radius by 2 meters, setting the patrol radius to 18 meters, potentially improving the ability to defend multiple objectives. Next is the STARS Field Combat Manual. This one will make a zombie's aura turn yellow for a short period when it starts tracking a survivor. Essentially, this grants your summoned zombie a form of surveillance, telling you if a survivor has been nearby recently. Brian's Intestines increases the zombie movement speed by 10%, taking it from 2 meters per second to 2.2 meters per second. This will make the zombie more effective at pursuing a survivor that's in the search radius. The damage syringe hasn't been changed. Buying a little bit of extra time is never bad for a brown add-on. Marvin's Blood increases the amount of contamination points you gain for summoning a zombie by 50%, taking it from 1 point to 1.5 points. Mikhail's Eye will reveal the aura of any survivor that's within a zombie's search radius for 6 seconds.
I think the thing here, because I've said it before, the problem with a lot of Nemesis add-ons is most of them affect the zombies, if not all of them. Very few affect the whip directly, other than Liquor Tongue, which we all know is bad. And with making the zombies more part of his kit, I see where he's going with this, and they all sound fine. That yellow one, like the one that makes the auras yellow, like I can kind of see use out of that, but at the same time, but it's a brown, so whatever.
This will help with tracking survivors that are attempting to pursue certain objectives, and also allow you to identify if there are multiple survivors working together to distract your zombies. The Adrenaline Injector has been reworked to become a new wave meme add-on. Now it standardizes the amount of contamination score gained when hitting a survivor with the Tentacle Strike. Currently, you gain 3 points every time you infect a survivor, and 1 point every time you take a health state from an already infected.
Alright, that thing of breaking a generator or whatever, where I said, like, what would the point be? This add-on adds a point to it, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that you've changed it and actually added the synergy with it. That's really cool.
Survivor. Granting a fixed 2 points would encourage committing to chases over spreading the infection. Further, this add-on provides a small chase bonus when the Nemesis hits mutation rate 2. The Admin Wristband increases the time that a zombie will patrol for. However, it also increases the cooldown after a zombie has finished its patrol, useful for defending fixed objectives such as totems. The Zombie Heart allows for the Nemesis to infect survivors through the use of a basic attack. However, the Nemesis will only ever gain 1 contamination point when infecting a survivor in this way.
Interesting.
The Serotonin Injector has been reworked in order to fit with the zombie patrol system. Now, summoning a zombie is what grants the undetectable status effect.
Okay. No problematic
Plant
ones so
43
far.
vines prevent uninfected survivors from opening supply crates. Further, when a survivor does open a crate, it will take considerably longer, increasing.
Honestly, make this one of his add-ons now, even without this rework. That's a cool idea, and I like that. This would stop. This doesn't happen very often, but sometimes survivors will go around opening the crates before they're infected to kind of prep them, and save them a little bit of time later. This would be great. I love this idea. I love this idea so much. Like I said, make this just base, please.
Increasing slowdown potential. The Tyrant Gore is a token-based add-on. With this add-on, each pallet that's destroyed by the Tentacle Strike.
Thank you. Thank you for adding a token-based add-on. We need more ideas like this for token-based add-ons. Please. BFS was such a cool idea. We need more. Please.
Will contribute to a stacking pallet stun reduction effect. The T-Virus sample simply increases the contamination points gained from hitting a survivor with the Tentacle Strike. This will reduce the time it takes to reach Tier 2 and Tier 3. The Liquor Tongue applies both mangled and hemorrhage to infected survivors for as long as they remain infected.
Oh, that didn't
This will
age well.
potentially be useful for creating hit and run builds, as well as providing some slowdown potential. The depleted ink ribbon has been reworked. The focus is still on zombies providing pressure during the endgame. Now, however, it doesn't require as much input from the Nemesis and is more focused on delaying exit gate opening, rather than getting free hits. Jill's Sandwich has now become an obsession-based add-on, for obvious lore reasons. Now, anytime the obsession is contaminated, all survivors will suffer from the Oblivious status effect.
I like this. I like this because this is something I talk about all the time. This is like a mini version of Hysteria. I don't know, he might mention that here in a second, but I like this. I like it when killers have add-ons that are like mini versions or kind of a different kind of interpretation of their teachable perks.
This will make it easier to spread the infection and give this add-on some good chase potential. The Nemesis Alpha Parasite has been reworked into a unique information add-on. The information provided differs depending on the Nemesis's current mutation rate. In mutation rate 1 or 2, contaminating a survivor will reveal the auras of other uncontaminated survivors with a focus on spreading the infection. In mutation rate 3, however, the add-on will instead reveal the auras of contaminated survivors.
I think that second part is a bit much, but I really do like this first part. And if you just applied that to like if this just did it so whenever you hit someone with a whip, you get their aura for 5 seconds, I would be cool with this. I mean, I don't hate the second one. I don't think it's that powerful, but like it's still cool. I would love this add-on. Once again, this is just a good one just to add to base Nemesis.
The add-on will instead reveal the auras of contaminated survivors. The Broken Recovery Coin now allows the Nemesis to inflict Broken once he's reached mutation rate 3. This could be useful for hit and run builds or prevent the use of certain perks closer to the end of a match.
I like
The
that one.
Shattered Stars badge still has a focus on improving the pressure zombies provide, but has been reworked to be far more consistent. Now, whenever a generator is finished, a zombie is summoned at the next generator with the most progress. Essentially, this add-on acts like a mini deadlock and has some considerable slowdown potential. Finally, the Iridescent Umbrella token has been reworked to be something that actually interacts with the chase power.
I'm gonna let him talk, but this is so cool. I already just read it. The Tentacle Strike will now hit all targets in its range. That's so good. I love that. Like, I don't think that's too powerful. It wouldn't come up in a lot of situations, but the biggest thing with this, and I'm sure he'll talk about it too, this means like if you hit a pallet, you'll also hit the survivor. That's so cool. For an add-on, I think that's fine. Especially for an Eerie, that's great.
This one gives the Tentacle Strike the ability to strike all targets in its path. This will mean that the Nemesis can do things such as denying protection hits, or destroying pallets and hitting survivors simultaneously. Overall, this add-on pass seeks to improve the variety of add-ons available and incentivize players to experiment with different playstyles. With these add-ons available, Nemesis players would be able to engage with a number of different strategies and potentially create more unpredictable matches for survivors. That's it for this one. These are all the suggestions I have for improving the Nemesis's current weaknesses as I see them. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, send an email, make a forum post and send a link. Whatever your ideas are, I want to hear them. I don't make this video to declare my ideas as gospel or something. I just hope to maybe inspire some conversations.
I appreciate that.
By discussing our ideas and putting them together, we can get that bit closer to making DBD the best version of itself. Thank you very much for watching, dear viewer, and I hope to see you in the next one.
For real, guys, go subscribe to DBD Balance and Beyond. Like I said, the link will be below, but I don't hate the ideas. The add-ons in particular, a lot of them I'm like, you know what, make that just on the normal one before even thinking about the rework that he came up with. One thing I will say, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of the Tentacle Strike changes. I actually think Tentacle Strike is fine. How it is. I understand a bit of the frustration on both sides. This part in particular, I think this is a bit much. And I really don't see what it accomplishes to a degree. Because if anything, I think it kind of hurts you, because then there's no, like, survivors wouldn't care if they're contaminated at that point, right? Like, it doesn't make a difference, really. And then the zombies, I just don't like this idea of him being able to place them. It just makes him knight with more options. And I don't know. I've always said, like, I think Nemesis needs some control of the zombies, but nothing to this degree. It's just a me thing, obviously. But in any case, we're gonna go ahead and end it there. Like I said, sub to them, please, please, please. Link is below. I haven't watched many of their other videos because I'm trying to keep a fresh eye here, and we are going to, if they're okay with it. By the way, if you're watching, if you're watching Mr. DBD Balance and Beyond, please let me know if you're okay with me reacting to these. I didn't want to ask you in your comment sections, and I couldn't find another way to really ask. But if you aren't, I will delete this video and I will stop doing these. But yeah, I thought it was a cool idea because I talk about reworks and changes for the game all the time. So I thought maybe hearing others talk about it would be fun. Once again, I don't fully hate this idea. Especially the add-ons. I think the add-ons were the biggest selling point for me. But like I said, the Tentacle Strike, like, I really think it's fine. But, you know, some of these are cool. I like the way you compensated for the tier 1 movement speed and stuff like that, and draw speed and things. I thought that was great. And while I didn't like this on the tier 2 where you can kick gens with it because I didn't see the point, making an add-on that kind of synergizes with it was a cool idea. I really like that. I feel like more add-ons need to do stuff like that. Once again, not a big fan of the tier 3 change, though. I think tier 3 is fine how it is. Even with the movement speed, I feel like the killer still feels impactful enough even without anything like this. But yeah, we're gonna call it a night there. I love you guys. My links and stuff are below as well. And have a good one, everyone. And, bye.
Subscribe, damn it. I'll be back. I always come back, and so should you, you moron.